The following video was made specifically for virtual reality gamers looking to add some authenticity to their blade and sorcery fights. While the techniques and principles mentioned can be applied to real-life fencing and fighting, it is highly advised that you do not try to apply these techniques IRL without the supervision of an instructor. Welcome to Blade Sorcery, a series where I'll teach you some handy historical tricks and techniques to spice up your gameplay, starting with a two-handed longsword. We'll be covering all sorts of things, from basic principles, tactics, and techniques all the way to more advanced stuff. The techniques in this longsword series are derived from the fencing tradition of Johannes Liechtenauer, a medieval fencing master whose teachings spawned generations of well-regarded swordsmen throughout the 15th and 16th centuries. In this video, I'll be introducing you all to the concept of guards, what they are, and what you can do with them. So, let's begin. So what exactly is a guard? Despite its name, a guard in this system is not a defensive thing. A guard is a position of the sword. It is basically how and where you hold your sword, in a manner that makes certain techniques quicker to execute. This means that there are a near limitless amount of possible guards. Thankfully, we can categorize them into 4 types. Foamtag, which is held high, and primed to cut. Here are some variations. Next is Albion, which is held low, and primed to cut. Here are some variations. Then, there's Ox, which is held high, with a point aimed at the target. When standing in Ox, make sure your hands are aligned with your sternum and crotch. This is your center line, and deviating from it will weaken your posture when you meet resistance. Here is Ox again, on the other side. Again, make sure to have your hands centered on that line. Now here's Flug, which is held low, with the point aimed at the target. I'm not aiming at the target in this video because the game's camera is a little strange, but just like with Ox, you should have the point at the enemy's face. Like Ox, Flug can be on both the left and right. So, to sum that all up, there are 4 guards: Foamtag, Albion, Ox, Flug. All of them are the starting and ending point for various attacks, defenses, and techniques. For example, Foamtag is the starting point for many attacks from all sorts of different angles: diagonal, vertical, and horizontal. Notice how each of these attacks ended in another guard. This is how combinations and sequences are formed. Understanding these guards will help you decide on the quickest and most effective attack possible, as well as figure out what your opponent likely wants to do. But cricket, what if I do an attack or a technique from the wrong guard? Well, this happens. Let's break that down. I'm approaching in a right Foamtag. I can cut from my right side very quickly because of it. My enemy is approaching in a weird extended Foamtag. He can't make any attack quickly from any angle, because he needs to pull his arm back to chamber his intended strike. Which is what happens here. But because he's pulled his arm back, I have more time to close in, and because my attack is faster, I hit first. So, in short, performing an action from the quote-unquote wrong guard will result in your action being slower. Of course, sometimes you want this to happen, especially when feinting, but as a general rule of thumb, make sure your guard is compatible with the technique you want to do. Thank you for watching. I hope it was fun and educational. My next video will deal with 2 basic attacks, and contain your first training exercise. Also, check the description below for some links to additional videos that will help you in your training. I've also written some extra thoughts that I couldn't get into this video without making it too rambly. If you liked this video, hit like and subscribe, so I can sell out to raid Shadow Legends like everyone else.